Hi, I'm Andrew McClintock, and welcome back to Fantasy Aid. This time we're counting down the top 15 fantasy baseball second basemen. Number 1 is obviously Jose Altuve from the Astros. He steals bases, he hits for average, and he got up to 15 home runs last year. I'd be interested to see if he can keep that power. He doesn't strike out. He's got a great OPS. He got 200 hits last year. That's 2 years in a row, consecutive 200 hits or higher. So obviously he's the top second baseman in the draft. Number 2 on my list is the speedster Dee Gordon, who is everything we were hoping Billy Hamilton would be. He had 58 stolen bases last year, and he hit for a .333 average. Now, I don't think he can sustain that high of an average. He needs more plate discipline as a leadoff hitter, as he doesn't walk much and he strikes out a little bit too much. But he had a 74% success rate when it came to steals last season, and he will definitely fill that need for your team this year. I think he could hit 300 on 300, 340 OBP, and with the steals, that makes him an elite second baseman. Number 3 on my list is an interesting player, Anthony Rendon. He'll most likely be moving back to third base this year, but he will have second base eligibility. And yeah, last year he was injured. His numbers were down from his breakout 2014 season. I think those injuries are behind him, and I think he could set up for a potentially strong 2016 season. The doubles are going to be up. I think he can hit 20 home runs again. I don't know if he'll steal as many. Thinking 10, 15 stolen bases, but with the average, the power, and the runs he's going to score, I think he could reach Tier 1, but because of coming off a down year, I have him in Tier 2. Number 4 on my list is Robinson Cano from the Mariners. As you can see, he started off real slow. People counted him out, saying, oh, he's over the hill now. But he really picked it up in the second half. As you can see, he hit 337 in July and hit over 300 in each following month. He's heading into his age 33 season, but the last time he played under 156 games was back in 2006. This guy is the pillar of what it means to play every game. He will always be out there. He is getting older, so he's going to start slowing down, but I think the average will be around there, 290, 20-ish home runs, 80-ish RBIs. Pretty solid, and he might be overlooked just because last year it's in everybody's mind that he's declining, and people might ignore him because of the age. Number 5 on my list is my personal favorite, Rougned Odor, and if I didn't pronounce that right, sorry. I think he will have a breakout season this year. After the All-Star break, he hit 273, 12 home runs, 37 RBIs. He needs to increase his plate discipline. I'd like to see him get a better strikeout to walk ratio. He hit 261. He had 16 home runs last year, but 12 of them were hit after the All-Star break. I think he could hit 280, 20 home runs. He had 6 stolen bases, but he got caught 7 times, so I wouldn't really look for that there. But I think he could score some runs, definitely 30, 35 doubles. Look for him to break out this season. Number 6 is Jason Kipnis, who was so hyped a couple years ago. They thought, oh, here's a 20 home run, 20 stolen base guy right here. And after that season, he largely disappointed in 2014, but he really bounced back in 2015, and I think a quiet year that not a lot of people noticed. He averaged over 300, his OBP was good, he only had 12 stolen bases and only 9 home runs, but you see he scored 86 runs, 171 hits, and his strikeout to walk ratio is pretty good. He walks a lot. I would say he was the end of Tier 2 for me, but he's pretty solid. He won't hit 15 home runs. He won't hit 20 home runs. But what he'll do is give you average, give you runs, and mix in a little stolen base here and there. Number 7 on my list is the Tigers' Ian Kinsler, who has been one of the top second basemen for a while now. His home run have been going down ever since 2011 when he hit 32, which was his only season over 30 home runs. He scored a lot of runs in the lineup. He hit 296, which was pretty high compared to what he had been batting. He had the lowest steals ever with only 10, and I look for that to go down as he ages. But he's averaged 694 plate appearances over the last 5 years. So he's been no health issues, relatively healthy, doesn't strike out a ton, and walks a pretty good amount. I think the average will decline a little bit, 280, but he should be good for 10 to 15 home runs, 60 to 75 RBIs. Number 8 on my list is Cubs now shortstop, Addison Russell. At least I assume he'll move over to shortstop. They might play Baez there if he takes off in the minor leagues. I'm not a fan of Baez. I think it'll be Russell shortstop, Zobrist second base. And last year was his rookie season, which overall it was okay. He had 13 home runs, 54 RBIs. The average was pretty low, so was the OPP. Like most Cubs hitters, he struck out at an enormous rate. But I think the power will improve. I think he can hit 17 to 20 home runs. He's in the best offense in the National League. And the question is, does he have a sophomore slump, or will 2016 be his breakout season? Number 9 is Cardinals second baseman Kolten Wong. Kolten Wong was one of the favorite candidates to break out going into last year, and he didn't quite live up to the hype. 262 with a 321 OBP, only 11 home runs, 61 RBIs. I think the home run potential that was placed on him was unrealistic, but I do expect for the average to rise as he was a high contact hitter in the minors. He got 15 stolen bases last year, and I think he could reach more, but the Cardinals seem to play station-to-station baseball, and Matheny just doesn't order the steal that often. Number 10 is Cubs' new second baseman, Ben Zobrist. That's right, there's 2 Cubs on this list. I felt like there wasn't enough good second basemen, so I threw both in there. Russell will probably show up in my shortstop video too. And Zobrist had a decent year last year. He had 36 doubles, 13 home runs, 56 RBIs. He should see plenty of run opportunities. Last year was the first time since 2008 he's played in 146 games. He's got great plate discipline. He walked one, they struck out last year. He's 35, but I think he can still have a decent average, 280. I think the runs should go up. Home runs, 10 to 15, maybe a slight uptick in RBIs. It's the first time since 2008 he did not have 10 stolen bases or more. I expect that to continue. No more than 5 or 6. Well, Joe Madden can be aggressive at times, so he could reach there, but I doubt it. Number 11 on my lineup is DJ LeMahieu, who gives you a little bit of everything with a decent average. He's got surprising speed. I didn't know he stole 23 stolen bases last year. That surprised me. He's got slightly better stats at home, in Coors Field obviously, but he hit 281 on the road, so it's not an enormous split. He's 27 years old. He actually hit 400 in the month of July last year. Now, he won't give you a ton of home runs. He won't give you a ton of any stat, but he will do a little of everything, and the stolen bases are nice for where you can get him in the draft. Number 12 is a breakout candidate last year, Logan Forsythe. I definitely didn't see this coming. 281 average, 17 home runs, only 9 stolen bases, but it was the first time in his career he's played over 110 games. His average just went up. Honestly, though, I don't think he can replicate the season. I don't think he was as bad as he was in 2014, but I don't think he's this good either. I see around 10 home runs, 50 to 60 RBIs. He's got nice position eligibility, and you could take a chance on him. If he could replicate his 2015 success, he would probably get you a pretty good position where you can get him in the draft. Number 13 is Giants second baseman Joe Panik, who's hit over 300 in his first 2 seasons in the big leagues. He doesn't strike out a lot, only 42 strikeouts, 38 walks. I think he'll have a slight uptick in home runs this year. Not a ton, 10, 12 home runs. The RBI should go up, and I think he'll get around 30 doubles. He's not flashy, but like LeMahieu before him, he'll give you a little of everything, especially with the average. The bottom two guys on my list all have new teams. Daniel Murphy went to the Nationals on a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. He went from 86 strikeouts in 2014 to only 38 in 2015. And of course, everyone's aware of what he did in the playoffs. However, I think that paints an unrealistic picture of what he's capable of. What he is capable of is a 280 average, 10 to 15 home runs, 70-ish RBIs. He's solid there, and I'd be really interesting to see if he can keep that strikeout rate low, because that is really low. He's in a slightly better lineup now that he's out of the Mets lineup, and with Cespedes gone now, he's in a better lineup unless the Mets re-sign him. Stolen bases disappeared though. He only got 2, and I'd be curious to see if he steals as much as he did. Rounding out my list is the Mets' new second baseman to replace Murphy, Neil Walker. Neil Walker hit over 20 home runs in 2014 and only managed to hit 16 this year, which is pretty solid. 269 average, 328. He struck out a little bit more than I'd like. He's a solid but unspectacular player, which is why the Pirates only got knees for him. Along with that, he only has 1 year till free agency. I think he can get up to 15 home runs. I think the RBIs might go a little bit down unless the Mets do something to improve that lineup, but he gets doubles. He doesn't really steal, but if you're in the back of the draft and you realize you don't have a second baseman, he's a solid guy to grab. And that's it for my second baseman rankings. Our next video will be sleepers, followed by shortstops. For Andrew here at Fantasy Aid, thanks for watching.